Hello everyone and welcome to another monthly intuitive reading of the month of May 2019. I'm David, I'm a soul specialist and an intuitive healer. And I come here every month giving you this intuitive reading based on tarot reading of Hebrew letters. And there are three letters that I read every month. And the first letter is always about the general vibration of the month. The second letter is the advice that is given to actually tap into these energies and be able to take advantage of the waves of energy that are available to us during the month. And the last is the outcome or the gift that we can expect to have when we ride these waves of energy. So in this month, actually, the subject that they bring us is the meetings that will trigger change in our lives. These meetings can be inside or outside of us. So this month, actually, the reading starts with a question. And normally, readings, they never start with a question. So it's a very funny, strange, and curious thing that happened this time. So the question is, how can you and me access compassion to accept something that on the surface seems very difficult to accept? And what comes to mind to me right now is that they're talking about situations that are staged now in the world at large. So situations that are happening in a political arena or at a humanitarian level in your country or in other countries around you. So how can we access, or how can you access compassion to actually accept some of these difficult situations? That's the big theme of this month. That's the main course of this month. How to access that, to actually grow in love. The first card is actually called Final, which is always about the completion of a cycle. So we are talking also about the completion of a cycle, probably also leveling up a level of compassion that we have previously felt, and now we can access this compassion, this new level of love, to be able to accept all these difficult situations and circumstances that probably we see portrayed by the news and the networks and all this media around us. The second card is actually the advice, and the advice is a turn of the card Lamed, which is always talking about connecting to higher planes of vibration. So that can be through meditation or through music or through any other way that can raise your energy, even just looking at a beautiful landscape or going into nature. And this is actually bringing the idea that the changes, the contrast that we see happening externally is bringing change. And the more extreme the circumstances, the deeper the change it will bring about. So normally we go through a space of deep turmoil and deep turmoil, so that we actually react to that in a desire that is opposing that extreme situation. And with that desire, we are already creating the solution of that big challenge that we are facing. So when we are seeing around the world now all these huge challenges and very challenging situations, we are also creating at the same time, with the desire that this situation changes, deep change and deep transformation. And so we are asked here to trust the process. And probably this is where it ties up with the first card, where we are asked to find, through this higher perspective, a way to accept the circumstances, to be able to accept in a compassionate way the difficult circumstances that some people also choose to have or choose to live, so that they are able to grow and bring a deeper and better outcome to their lives and the life of the world at large. And finally, we have the third card, which is the card of Daleth, almost forecasting for us these new meetings. What I was talking in the beginning as the subject of this reading is bringing there are new meetings that will trigger change in ourselves, new meetings that could be also manifested outside with other people, maybe those that are going to trigger some compassion because we are understanding in an individual level what's going on in certain situations. So will bring us that into our life, instead of maybe looking at that through the eyes of a newsroom or a reporter or a journalist. So it might be that kind of relation, new encounter that will actually shift and trigger some change in ourselves. Or it can be just a meeting inside ourselves with an aspect of ourselves that maybe we have previously fought or kind of hidden or had a conflict with. And finally, we are able to see it and to embrace it. And also through that process, we are able to be more compassionate with other people that are having also the same problem, the same challenge, the same aspect playing out in their lives, or being in conflict with that. So we are going to be able to see that coming, and this encounter will bring some deep change, probably a new attitude or a new way of behaving, or starting really something, I would say, that is related to a new behavior in our lives, a new way of behaving to the world. And because we are talking about compassion, it's going to level up our capacity to love. So I really hope you can find this useful. I hope that you will find this meeting that will trigger a change in all of us, and that you will find also a way to find the compassion in order to increase your capacity to love, increase our capacity to love in this world, to all the circumstances as they are, even if they are very difficult sometimes to accept. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for being with me. I also want to tell you about my podcast. I have a weekly podcast that you can listen on in like 9 platforms. So it's for sure in Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, and many others. Normally you can find that in my webpage, in my Facebook page, and in Instagram, all the information about it, and you can subscribe and receive that directly in your phone or in your laptop, whatever you want to listen to that. So thank you very much for listening, and I see you next time. Bye-bye.